What's up, everyone? Welcome to my weekly video. This is the video that should have been made a week ago, but time was of the essence, I guess, and I didn't want to rush through it. As you can tell from the title, this is my February book wrap-up and my March TBR. I'm going to go through the list of books I read in February, and then I'm going to get to the books I want to read in March. Pretty self-explanatory, right? I read a ton of books, way more books than I usually do in February, and I can't wait to share my thoughts with you on them. And they're going to be brief, very brief, thoughts on these books because I don't want this to be like a 20-minute video. And then I want to get to the books I'm really looking forward to reading in March. So, without further ado, here are the books I read in February. Okay, guys. So the first books I'm going to talk about are books 2 through 5 of the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. These books are The City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, and City of Lost Souls. I read all these books within the past few weeks. It's so addicting that I had to read them all, and I have one book left in it. Really love the story. I was never a fan of the young adult genre before I read these books. That's how good these books are. Very engrossing. I love that even though it's a young adult book, it doesn't shy away from the horror element of it, as far as like the creatures go and how gruesome the reality of these creatures existing in a world would be. And I like how the portrayal of the Nephilim or the Shadow Hunters is. Not everyone is good. Just because they're the ones protecting the world doesn't mean everyone's a good guy. The mystery involving the main character Clary and her family is very interesting. Valentine is probably one of my favorite villains I've read in a young adult book before. Just gruesome, but at the same time he has a quality about him that makes you almost question whether or not he is the bad guy. Of course he is, but it's just an interesting thing. It's like, I'd compare it to Heath Ledger's Joker, in that even though you know what he's doing is so wrong, like beyond wrong, the way he rationalizes things makes sense, which is very scary. That's, I think, what makes it scarier, is when a villain rationalizes things that is comprehensible. So books 2 through 5 were just amazing. Getting to book 6 and the story of Clary's brother, her real brother, is something I'm very much looking forward to seeing the conclusion of. And I'm very excited. I want to read this book too because there's a new book series set in the same universe called Lady Midnight, I believe, coming out. With a whole new cast, and it takes place in LA, which is my stomping grounds, sort of. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm going to read that this month. But books 2 through 5 of the Mortal Instruments series, amazing. Okay, so The Killing of Mummies Boy by Joan Ellis. Great book. Disclaimer, I did get this from my publicity group, Book Lover Cat Lady Productions, or Publicity. Really great thriller, very interesting. You really don't see the ending coming, not at first at least. When you start getting into it, you start to see the pattern emerge, but for a while it's touch and go, like, trying to figure out who is the stalker, who is messing with this woman. The candid conversations between this woman and a killer aboard a train is very fascinating. It's very intriguing. If you're looking for a thriller that features, a strong woman taking charge, or not taking charge, but trying to suss out the issues that are surrounding her, I should say. The Killing of Mummies Boy is a really great one, and like I said, people want to see the ending coming. If you're looking for a tearjerker, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green is one you will not want to miss. I saw the film, but the book, is just as powerful, if not more so. Very emotional. You feel for these kids and what they're going through. And until you're going through it, you don't really understand like what is going through their heads. And I think the very candid, real way that these kids deal with the situation, and how it happens to them, is good to read. It's sad to think about because it really happens, but I think it's fair and honest how the story is portrayed, and it's not a fairy tale. It doesn't have a happy ending with this kind of story, which deals with cancer. It's gruesome, it's heartbreaking, and it's depicted really well, and gives people a better understanding of what these kids go through. So great romance, great young adult novel, and really well worth the read. As a Marvel fan, I'm really happy with reading Black Widow Forever Red. It gave Black Widow the spotlight that she so richly deserved. It really was great to delve into her backstory. It was a very interesting take on the young adult novel because it felt more like an espionage thriller than a young adult novel. But it was really well written, and I can't wait for the sequel. I think was it Maximum Red or something? I don't remember, but I'm really looking forward to that. So Black Widow Forever Red, really, really great. And finally, the last book I read in February, it was actually the first book I read in February, The Night of Eliza by Isis Suwasa. I just actually did a interview with her on my blog, so if you want to check it out, authoranthonymita.tumblr.com, go to that blog and check out the interview I did with the author. She gave me some great answers. She's an artist primarily, and it was really a great conversation. But the book was really well written. I loved the Victorian era setting, very creepy, and you didn't see. It was really interesting to see the pull and give of the situation, and it really makes you want to, get more into the book, and really has me anticipating going deeper into this world of Duskland and seeing the backstories of these characters explored further. So really, really well written. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about my March TBR, the books I want to read. Starting with the first book I'm going to read in March, 11/22/63. I've been waiting to read this book for so long. I want to watch the Hulu series, but I really need to read the book first. Look at how big this book is. Wow. 842 pages. It tells the story of the JFK assassination. Takes a spin on exploring Lee Harvey Oswald as a person, and really goes in that theory as far as him being the lone gunman. And Stephen King does I'm guessing does a masterful job. He is the master of horror and suspense and thrillers, and I'm so excited to read this. I've been waiting for a long time, and I'm going to start tonight. So 11/22/63 is my first book to read in March. The book I'm going to read after that is The Mortal Instruments, City of Heavenly Fire, the final book in the Mortal Instruments series. I can't wait to delve into this. I obviously, like I said before, read the books 2 through 5 very, very quickly because it is fun and it's just such a great read. Very excited about this. This is the last book in the Infernal Devices. Is that what it's called? Or something, I don't know. This is the last book involving Clary Frey and her friends and everything. And it looks really amazing, and I want to get more books in this series. So City of Heavenly Fire is after the Stephen King book I read. The book I'm reading right now that's going to go with the Stephen King book is Hellbound, The Tolly Man by David McCaffrey. This is a thriller. It delves into the mindset of a ruthless killer with no remorse whatsoever. Obadiah Stark, I believe is his name. It tells the story of him, his execution, and he finds himself in this world where he has a wife and a child, which is probably a nightmare for him because he likes causing chaos and havoc wherever he goes. and he goes on another killing spree. He dies, and then he reawakens in the same situation over again, so it's like his own personal hell. And I can't wait to delve into that part of it. The other part is a journalist who's actually writing a book about Obadiah Stark and delves into who he was, what made him into a killer, all that fun stuff, which is really interesting because that always fascinated me, is what makes a killer a killer. What makes serial killers do what they do. So I'm very interested to read this book. David McCaffrey so far has a really great way of writing, very descriptive and cinematic, I will say. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. So Bloodbound, or Hellbound, I should say, it's called Hellbound, The Tolling Man. I'm really looking forward to finish reading it. Next, The Duff by Cody Keplinger. I saw the film. I thought it was great, really well done. This is not the original cover, I know. The original cover was something different. But the movie was amazing, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the book that inspired that film, and seeing the writing. I want to see how close the film was to this book, and it's nice to change up the pace a little bit. I know this is going to be more of a young adult comedy with a little drama mixed in, so I'm really looking forward to seeing this book. So I'll hope to read that in March. And finally, I would like to read The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. A very popular book. I love Gone Girl, and I like reading books like that. Very psychological thriller, crime thriller, stuff like that really fascinates me. And from people I know, the book has gotten nothing but great reviews. I know the film is going to be coming out either this year or next. I don't know, but I really want to hear, because apparently your opinion on who is the killer shifts several times in the book, and that's what always fascinates me, is not knowing for sure who the killer would be. I don't like a book to be too predictable. I like the clues to come there so that I can investigate in my own head and see if I'm right by the end. Kind of like Memento. We don't even know the answer in that film to who killed the main character's wife, what happened to him, etc. I like, having to come up with the answer in my own head and exploring that. So, The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins is a book I hope to read in March. Well, there you go, guys. Those were my February book wrap-ups and my March TBRs. So, lots of books read last month, and I hope to read a lot more. Between 11/22/63 and Immoral Instruments, I'm looking at well over 1,000 pages. With the other books, it'll probably be closer to 2, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. So thank you for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up in the comments below. Tell me what book you hope to read in March. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in. Please check out our social media links in the description below. Like this video, comment on it, favorite, and share it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And check out the Eye in the Sky for today's recommended videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Long days and pleasant nights, my friends.